What is going on, YouTube people? Neo here today to do a little breakdown on Marvel trading card market. Been a while since we looked at 90 Marvel Universe, so we're going to take a quick look at how PSA prices are selling and sealed wax. And then we're going to take a look at some prices on the recently released X-Men Metal Universe stuff and see how single prices are holding up on that. So before we dive in, like, comment, subscribe. You guys and girls know the drill. And let's go ahead and dig into some recent sales history. Starting off with 90 Marvel Universe. It has been a few weeks, if not a month, since we've kind of checked in on this product. And I haven't been paying as close attention to the prices because I don't have any currently. I have some sitting at PSA, but most of it's 91 Series 2 and some X-Men 92 with a few Series 1 cards. And I have no idea when I'll actually see those back. Who knows? They've been sitting and grading for months. And that was on a regular order that they got right when the glut of mail came in with the price hike. So I don't expect to see them back anytime soon. But prices are still going pretty good. The Stan Lee one's a little all over the place. There's one here from Saturday that went for $9.10 and a PSA 10. And this search listing's just for PSA 10 cards. Let me zoom in a little bit here for you guys and girls. So we have that for $9.10, which is really strong. But you'll see one here a little later that went for considerably less. But even like the Excalibur team card going for $100, or these comic panel cards, like little sketches or skits almost between Spider-Man and other characters, like, are all doing like pretty decent, over $150. Here's a Silver Surfer for almost 700. Hulk vs. Spider-Man for 140. So like this mid-tier stuff in PSA 10 seems to be going for around 150-ish, which seems pretty good. Sabretooth for 450. These comic covers going for anywhere from 100 to 150. Cosmic Spider-Man still leading the clubhouse at 1625. Very strong sale there. But even like Black Suit Spider-Man for 560, an Apocalypse for 340, a Loki for 380. Here's another Stan Lee that went for 600. Shadowcat for 400. Wolverine for 2. Another Stan Lee for 650. So, you scroll down through here, and this is still all like within the last 10 days. This is, July 5th. Like even random characters, Elektra going for $135. Still going strong. Like, to me, these seem like very solid prices this far in. Like, I'm impressed that these have held up this well. I was a little worried there for a second because they dropped kind of fast, but they have definitely leveled off and leveled out and kind of stabilized here. And that's pretty impressive to see. We'll see what happens as more and more keep coming back. But, this is still all really good. Like, if there was a cheaper grading option with a decent turnaround time with PSA, because this is very PSA specific, there would still be a lot of value, I think, in ripping a box and grading it. But with prices being the way that they are to grade right now and turnaround times, Daredevil for 400, Mr. Fantastic 100. Like I said, even like this random stuff going for almost $100. If you were grading for $50 a card, if you pulled a 9, you're probably going to lose. But if you pull a couple 10s, you would make your money. Here's a Series 2 that snuck in here for 95. So yeah, 90 Series 1 seems to be holding strong, at least in PSA 10. That is the trick. So just for the hell of it, I wanted to pull up SGC prices to see how SGC 10s were doing in the market, because they are the one that like you could actually grade with right now at reasonable turnaround times and at a reasonable rate. It's $30 to grade with them and about a 2 to 3 week turnaround time, give or take. Yeah, not great. I am not surprised by this. SGC, like, people really root for them, but the secondary market just does not really want them. So like here's a Doom and a 10 went for 60. I mean, that's not bad. You doubled up. That's fine. Here's a Kingpin that went for 40. So that would you basically broke even on that after you factor in fees and shipping and everything. Mephisto, you would have made a little money on that. But here's the problem. If you catch a non-10, like this Wolverine in a 9, probably one of the most desirable cards in the set, only went for 20 bucks. So you lost $10 on that just on grading fees alone. Cap for 200, not bad. Here's another problem. SGC has a 9.5 grade and it's a death sentence. The market just does not like them. But like, here's this Wolverine Classic cover going for 23 bucks. You lost $7, actually a little bit more than that. Like these covers going for 26 bucks and PSA 10s, these were going for over 100. Now, sure, you can't really grade right now with PSA. There is that. So I guess if you sent the right card, maybe you could get away with it. Like this isn't bad. This Loki SGC 10 going for 180. What was that in a PSA 10? There was one floating around here. 382 compared to 180. So an extra 200 bucks on the PSA 10 versus the SGC 10 on the identical card. I know. Buy the card, not the grade. Everyone says it, but the market doesn't do that. It is what it is. Here's this Apocalypse for $42. I am pretty sure. Yeah, $300 difference. This was July 7th. That Apocalypse was June 24th, but still fairly close. 42 bucks for that Apocalypse in an SGC 10. $338 for it in a PSA 10. Not a bad sale on that. Ghost Rider X-Men team for 40 bucks. Like this at $44 in an SGC 10. You barely make it on that because you paid 30 bucks to grade it. You paid to ship it to SGC. You're going to lose 13% to eBay. And then you had to pay to ship it, or, the buyer picked up shipping, but then that's a little bit more into your fees. You maybe broke even on this card. And that was with it pulling a 10, which is no sure thing. Gray Hulk for only 75. Sinister for 54. These were going for like 350 bucks. Thought I saw a few of these on the PSA side of things. I swear that I did. Sorry, I was kind of doing this on a whim. Yeah, here we go. 350 bucks for a Sinister and a PSA 10. 55 in an SGC 10. So, even Professor X, you lost money on this at 30 bucks a card. Maybe you even went with a bulk discount and you got $25 a card still. Once again, a 9 only doing $23. Black Panther going for 200 in an SGC 10. I got almost 200 for my PSA 9 in a Black Panther. Wolverine in a 9.5, you got 40 bucks for it. And like, as we are well aware, as I've documented on this channel a ton, these are really tough grades. So getting a 10 is no sure thing. So that's the problem with looking at the other grading companies. SGC is probably the most viable, but in my mind, it's not worth the risk. Unless you're sending like a Cap or something like that, or one of the premier characters, but you're still going to take way less for it. I don't know. If you just wanted to get in and get out of it, I guess it's okay. But I'd have to think long and hard on if I'd send like a Stan Lee or a Cap or a Spider-Man or something like that to SGC versus just waiting for PSA to figure their stuff out, which could be a while, to be fair. Moving along, let's check sealed wax prices. Box prices are actually and this was pretty close to what they were last time I looked at them. I think they were around 900. They've dropped down to between 700 and 800, it looks like. There's a couple sales that are a little bit higher, but most of them are in this 740 to 800 range. 725 Canadian, 624 US. Actually, it looks like they've crept back up again. This is late or early July. Yeah, actually, I didn't go back this far when I was looking. So 6655. Looks like they got down to 5. But they've actually started coming back up again. I wonder if people are noticing the strong PSA sales and are stocking up on sealed wax. But that's interesting. They got all the way down to 5 and then they're lifting back up again now. I was not tracking prices on those that close. At 5, I would have almost considered buying another box. Because I have turned around the check inventory. I have one box still sitting behind me sealed. I think these boxes would be doing a lot better if there was a way to grade. But the fact that there's nowhere to send this stuff right now is probably hurting the wax prices a little bit. But still, even $500 to $700. Pretty strong. I mean, obviously, it depends on where you bought in at. These boxes were up to like 15, 16, 1700 for a while. I think some got over or close to 2K for a hot minute. The one that I ripped it open, I think I paid like 1200 for, Mercari. But I ended up coming out ahead on that by quite a bit factoring in PSA grading fees. So I tracked everything on that, and I made at least a few hundred to close to 1,000, maybe $1,200 on that box that I ripped, even factoring in grading fees. And I still have a few cards sitting at PSA, and I have a pile of cards that are still gradable in my opinion, but not at 50, 70, $200 a card like they are now. So let's hop over to X-Men Metal. Obviously, we ripped a bunch on the channel. Now, I have sold a lot of the short print inserts and stuff that I opened. So I'll talk about that in a second. Box prices are holding strong at between 280 and 300. 275 is about the cheapest you could find one anywhere, and that's not super easy. Most of them are going between 285 and 3. They're still on David Adams for 300. So if you didn't want to, monkey with eBay stuff, you could pull the trigger on there. Single prices have fallen. We'll talk about some stuff here in a minute. But myself personally, so I spent $1,700 on 6 boxes. I sold all my geodes, which I had 2, one being a short print Sabretooth. I sold my Wolverine Arkweld. I sold my Beast Platinum Portrait. I sold my 2 green PMGs. And I just sold my Psylocke Periodic. And I sold something else. My sketch card and my comic cuts card. And just on all those, I netted out, I'd have to total it up, but off the top of my head, around $1,200. So I almost paid. So right now, I'm only like $500 out of pocket and maybe less. And I have a full base set real close to a high series set. A bunch of golds, all my red PMGs, all my paladins, all the rest of my Arkwells, the rest of my blast furnaces, all my grandioses, basically everything else. Other than that, I sold about 8 cards off and got about $1,200 out of it. Now, I don't know if those single prices will hold. Maybe on that short print and super short print stuff, it will. We'll see. So I actually think I did pretty okay to pull out 12 to $1,300 just in 8 or 9 cards. So I could easily probably break even and basically get a free set out of it if I really wanted to, and sold some of this other stuff off. I've just been lazy about it, frankly, and haven't listed some of this stuff yet. And I need to put the list together of the last 5 or so cards that I need from High Series and just knock that out and be done with it. But I keep forgetting to do that too. With the National coming, a lot of my attention's focused in that direction right now. But box prices holding strong. I'll be curious to see what these go long term. And then also I'll be curious to see what single prices do once EPAC hits. I don't fully understand EPAC. I've never done it. I don't know that I'll mess with it with this product since I ripped so many in person. To me, these are one of the funnest box rips I've had in a long time. Probably, I would still put 90 Marvel Universe ahead of it just because that's very nostalgic for me. But these were a really fun rip. This was more fun ripping this than any sports card product I've ripped in the last 2 to 3 years. Not that I rip a ton, but I did rip a lot of like 18 Optic, 18 Mosaic, and some one-offs here and there of 19 product. But just dipping in real quick, checking out some single prices. This is just, I just searched for all geodes. So the random ones are doing between about 60 and $70. The more desirable characters like an Emma Frost going for around 100. And then if you hit a short print, especially a major character, this Storm's a super short print, so that went for 400. But you'd see Forge 60, Angel 50. So these more random characters are going in the mid 50s to 100. This Rogue seems cheap if that is actually a super short print card at 140. But just scrolling through, you can kind of see $70. That's Banshee, $70 Banshee. I think one of those is actually mine. So the Geode's doing okay. Wolverine sold for $650 at auction. I am actually surprised this did not go for more. To me, that's probably that, and I think the Magneto are probably the 2 most expensive cards in the set, the Geodes. My Arkweld, I got $450 for. Blast Furnaces, same thing. Base Blast Furnaces are like, if it's, copycat here for $10, aren't doing much. Mid-tier characters are going for about 20 or 25. And then more desirable characters are getting up there a little bit. Like you see Wolverine here for 90. That's the most expensive one by far. There's an Old Man Logan short print for 260. So Blast Furnace is not doing bad. This was a little bit earlier on. You can see how the prices come down as more and more hit the market as you scroll back in here. I really like the Blast Furnaces. I think they look really good. Actually, I don't know. Them and the Arc Welds both look really good. I'm surprised at how rare those were. I was not expecting to basically pull one per box of one or the other. So these prices actually seem extremely reasonable given how rare these are to pull, especially the random characters. Same with the Arc Welds. The non-main level line characters are going for about 15, 20 bucks. And then the more rare ones, like here's a Rogue short print, 195. My Wolverine will probably be on here somewhere. This is a second Wolverine that sold for 334. This is mine here. This was my sell right here, 440. That kind of set the market. Mine was the first to sell. I just auctioned mine off. I had it listed best offer buy it now for like 2 days. Nothing serious rolled in, so then I just threw it up on a 7-day auction and let the fates decide where it ended up at. But that has been the most expensive one to sell. That's the only other one to sell after, and it sold the next day for $100 less. There are some listed now. I think best offer buy it now. We'll see where it settles out at. It was a dead sexy card. I just had no desire to put the set together, so I didn't see a reason to hold it, even though I do really like Wolverine as a character. And I was thinking I could get anywhere from $400 to $600 for it, was my guess. That's about where it ended up, and that basically paid for almost 2.5 boxes or 2 boxes. So to me, it was worth it just to move it. But yeah, the Arc Weld's going for about 15 to 20 bucks for most of them, other than the short print, super short print stuff. Wolverine in general is selling fairly well on the parallel stuff. I just did a general Wolverine search. Like his Grandiose went for 110 bucks. That's pretty strong. The Grandiose set's really nice. I would not mind necessarily putting that together in the high series, but I think it'll be too pricey. Space card's only going for a few bucks, but high series 20 bucks. Those go for 10 or 20 bucks. There's a $6 one. Just seeing if there's anything else spicy here. There's the Arc Weld, the Old Man Logan for 260, Paladin for 156. That's a nice looking card too. I don't think I've seen just that one Wolverine Geode. There's a really nice sketch. Went for 500. That's pretty strong. My sketch card was pretty random. I got about $100 for it. So yeah, this Wolverine Geode seems to be the leader in the clubhouse for most expensive card out of the set so far at 650. And then Deadpool stuff's been selling okay as well. I haven't seen anything super rare of his go yet. 50 for his Paladin. Oh, this is his Gold Parallel High Series for 50. That's a really nice looking card. His Blast Furnace super short print for 350. That makes sense. Also a nice looking card. But I haven't seen. I think his green PMG sold, or one of his PMG sold, and it went really cheap. But I didn't see it on the list. And then these Platinum Portraits are clearly the most rare cards out of the entire set. And it is not even close. So these came out on like July 24th, 23rd. 6 have sold in the 2 months. Or I'm sorry, 2 weeks, 3 weeks since the set released. And here are all of them. Here's my Beast, went for 328. Sabretooth went for 300. Cyclops for 400. Quicksilver for 350. A Legion for 350. And a Juggernaut for 400. The Juggernaut is really cool looking. If someone pulls one of these for a major character, and I don't have the checklist in front of me, but if there's a major character in Platinum Portraits, it should sell for a metric ton. These are by far the most rare thing to get. The prices on these, look at these prices. Basically, the floor was 328. I'm sorry, 300 for Sabretooth and 328 for My Beast. And this is not the greatest collection of heroes. Juggernaut, Legion, Quicksilver, Cyclops, Beast, and Sabretooth. In my opinion, Sabretooth and Cyclops are probably the 2 best characters pulled there. Actually, that Juggernaut does look really cool. But yeah, one of these in a major character is going to be nuts. So I'm just curious if any are actually listed on eBay right now. I'm going to do a side search here really quick. Sorry, I usually don't like doing this stuff on the fly. So here's currently listed on eBay. There was only 4. Domino for 500, Strife for 450, a second Domino, and then an Archangel for 830. So once again, not necessarily the most key characters in the world. Those are the sports ones. Because this was a reprint from a sports set. That Strife actually looks really cool. That's one of the best looking ones that I've seen, actually. That Strife. These are ridiculously cool cards. They are extremely condition sensitive. But these are by far and away the most rare things in the set. So these should command the most or the highest prices, at least for a key character. Like if Wolverine is in this, which I don't know if he is, that would be an absolute monster pull. Heroic Goods and Games in the SCI Discord, and he has his own YouTube channel. I think he did the math on it, and like only based off the rough box math, I've heard anywhere from 6 to 20 copies of each of these exist. And that's it. Once again, if my Beast would have been a better character, I may have considered holding on to it. But I have 0 attachment to the character, and that basically paid for a box. A little bit more than a box, actually, because I got my boxes for 200 for the most part. So, yeah, that's just kind of a quick rundown of the Marvel market, at least on 90 Marvel Universe and X-Men Metal. I know that there's a bunch of other Marvel sets out there, but 90 MU is kind of my bread and butter, along with 91. Maybe I'll dip into that next time. And I was very curious to kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive on X-Men Metal singles on how they're holding up. I don't think X-Men Metal is an air quote investable product or anything like that. I'm not planning on grading any of my X-Men Metal stuff. I would have considered the Arc Weld if it didn't have a little bit of a soft corner. Maybe if I got like a Wolverine High Series Gold or Grandiose, or a Deadpool High Series Gold or Grandiose, I would consider it. But beyond that, I just don't know. Maybe there's a market there for it. The problem is SGC doesn't command the resale value, and PSA doesn't have a viable grading option right now for this stuff. Just too expensive. So, and these cards were super condition sensitive. They would be very hard to get a PSA 10 in. If you pulled a PSA 10 out of X-Men Metal Universe, that stuff's going to be low pop count, whether it's a PMG or not. The PMGs, I should let me change that statement around a little bit. We did not look at any PMG prices. Green PMGs would be the most highly priced stuff in the set, along with purely periodic, low numbered stuff. I didn't dive into that stuff. I wanted to stick to more of the non-numbered stuff. Some of the comic cuts have sold fairly well. Just really depends on how lucky you are on the image that you got. But PMGs probably would be worth grading if you hit the right character. So, but yeah, that's where we sit right now. If you guys and girls have any questions on anything, leave them in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down there. Back to sports cards nonsense the rest of the week. And then next week, I think I am going to do a CGC 9.8 little market check-in across, various different key books like we have before, probably mostly Copper Age stuff. Kind of deep dive in. How are the prices holding up on ASM 300, 316, some key X-Men books, that sort of stuff, and do a little deep dive on that using probably GPA or something. Because the comic book market, some stuff has been cooling off a little bit. So I believe that we could be heading into a little bit of a buying opportunity window if you missed out on some stuff, as this stuff, some of it dips. Some of the stuff is definitely dipping, but other stuff is going back up. Like the market overall is still pretty hot, but some stuff that got run up, you're seeing the typical pullbacks that you would normally see. So, but yeah, that's all we got. Like, comment, sub. Catch you on the next one. Peace.